All right, this is how to take your MRAP windows out. First step is to get all the armor off from around your window. After you get all the armor off, you're gonna be taking all these screws out from around the window frame. After you take those screws out, you're gonna start by running a razor knife between, the video's gonna be bad here, between the frame and the MRAP there. After you do that, you're gonna get a standard pry bar and you're gonna go in about a ½ inch and you're gonna hammer this pry bar all the way around that frame working, okay? And here in a few minutes, I'm gonna be moving on to the next step. So after you get done prying around the exterior seal, you see where the windows failed here on the MRAP. You take the upper corner and you run a razor knife all along the edge here and cut the seal. There's double back taping in there. After you cut the double back taping, you are going to grab your standard issue pry bar and you're going to pound it up into that corner. After you get it up into that corner, you are going to place a piece of wood right here on this round part to help give you some leverage and to make sure that you don't break it. This is plastic Lexan, and it'll crack before you break the interior piece of tempered, so make sure you do that. So once you've cut the interior seal, you hammer a pry bar up in the top like that, and then I'm going to move this away. And what you do is you cut that seal and then you bend it out and you get a larger pry bar in here, just like that. Now with that rounded edge like that, you can break the Lexan. So what you want to do is get a piece of wood in between that and your window, and it just pops and it comes out like that. Now you're not able to cut that bottom seal, so what you do is just the opposite. You pull this out and you work a piece of wood in here just like this, right? And you work it further down. You start at the top and you keep working it down. You keep working it down until you get it down to about here. Then you have somebody from the exterior shove on the top and it pops the bottom loose. So that's where you're at for getting it out, and then this window's ready to delaminate. So after you stick the pry bars in there and work it a little bit, it pops right out and it looks like this. This casing stays together and you're gonna leave it there. And this right here is the piece of Lexan you're gonna be taking off right here. There's 3/16 that's sticking out, just that little bit. And then there's a piece of lamination in there we're gonna show you how to cut off. All right, after you've got the window safely out from up there on the MRAP, you bring it on down, and right here between the piece of Lexan and the lamination, you're gonna run the razor and it's gonna pop right through, and you see how the air comes in and it's wobbly. After you get it that way, you're simply gonna get your fingers in here. If I can do this one-handed, can somebody hold this video real quick? You're gonna get it loose. You're simply gonna get your hand in here and start peeling it off. You may have to go on ahead and work your razor knife around the edge to get it going. But you're gonna be able to just keep prying and working it all the way around. You see how that air's coming up? That's the lamination letting loose, and it'll eventually just pop right off. All right, I'll let you know when we get to the next step. All right, so once you get the window down and that piece of Lexan peeled off, what you're gonna do is this rubber piece, it's about 1/8 of an inch thick. Then there's a piece of hard glass right here. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna run the razor knife down against it, the glass. Don't worry about scratching it, and just keep running it, okay? You wanna get about 1 inch. See that white foggy part? All the way around it to make sure that when you bring in the tool, which I'm gonna show you next, is not working near the edge of the glass. You hit the edge of that glass is going to cause it to pop and shatter, and then you're going to have a worthless window. All right. Alrighty, so this is the tool you're going to be using to delaminate it. You see the white edge I put all the way around the window, okay? And this is just your Rockwell, what is it, Sonicraft? All it does is vibrate back and forth. Notice that it's got smooth on both sides. This tool will also come with serrated edges. Don't use them because you will scratch the glass. So all you do is get this tool in there, away from the edge, and you're going to turn it on, and you're going to run the edges, just like that. And as you get going around there, you're going to end up with somebody holding it up to get pressure on it, and you're going to get a deeper cut, okay? All the way around it, and you're just going to work it all the way down to the end, and then I'll show you how to clean it off when we're done. So after you cut the lamination off with that tool, it's going to look similar to this. This is the thick piece of lamination that comes off. It's about, I don't know, 1/16 to 1/8 inch, 3/16 of an inch thick, right in there. And then you're going to use 3M general purpose adhesive cleaner. And you're going to put a nice thick layer right on it, and you are going to scrape it with a flat razor blade tool like this. Put it right on it flat, scrape it. Once again, you don't need to clean it all the way. This black edge is called the matrix band. You don't need to clean it all the way to the edge. That doesn't matter. Just make sure you get it as good as you can. Stay away from the edge of the glass. Lower the risk of breaking anything, but I'll show you what it's going to look like here in a minute.
And it works better. I don't know
So
why.
once you get the 3M clean on there, see how clear the glass comes? And that's the spot you're scraping off. And you just use a little bit of elbow grease and put this 3M clean and apply it just like this. And once it's applied, you let it set for about 15 to 20 seconds, and then just start scraping on it all over again, and it's going to come clear just like this. Alright, so we've got the window clean right there, and we're coming back up to the MRAP. So we just scraped the seal right there. You're going to end up running a bead here all the way around, and then a bead here all the way around, okay? On the very bottom though, you make sure you run the bead low down, because when you bring the window in, unless you're perfect, you're not going to be able to perfectly line up the holes for the bolts, and you're going to have to actually push it up. And running the bead low and thick on the bottom, when you push it up, you're just going to push the sealant back into itself, and you're not going to have to worry about creating an air gap, and you're going to end up with a good seal. The only other thing that you could use, if you don't want to use sealant, which is what they used to begin with, you could use a Sikaflex, a Volcom sealant, or if you're really ambitious, you can get one of your automotive guys locally to put them back in with urethane, in which you will never be able to get it back out again. But good luck with that. Alright, so once you get the window tilted back up, it's sealed all the way around. You put these bolts in, you see how when you tighten it, it pushes out the top. On the inside, you can look in there, you can see the sealant. Just clean it off with a razor blade when you're done. See how it's pushing up? Just clean it off when you're done, after it dries, no big deal. And you're gonna have the window in. We'll clean it, but it looks like that, nice and clear. So once the sealant's down and the windows are back in place, you put the bolts, you're gonna end up with small patches of sealant coming out all the way around it, which it should be that way. You're gonna end up with caulking on the inside coming off. I already cleaned most of it off, okay? And then I'm gonna take you inside and I'm gonna show you what you're gonna do to the inside to the sealant to make up for that gap that's missing as far as that Lexan we took off. All right, back on the inside. So you've got that sealant, it's gonna be squishing out in areas all the way around. When you're done, you just take a flat razor blade right there. Just take a flat razor blade, clean it right up. Now, you're gonna be able to see how good of a seal you have and how much the window contact. Now there's a little bit of a void here that you can't see in the camera. All you need to do is go get a Sikaflex or a Vulcum, which is a very good polyurethane type sealant. They use it to hold aircraft together, and you're gonna backfill that down in there. So you can see it up in here. I don't know how good the video is. You can see the sealant, and there's a gap right there. You're just gonna seal that shut, push all your moldings back on, seal that shut, and you're gonna end up with a nice good seal, and that sealant is gonna take the vibration for the glass. Or you can get a 1/4 inch piece of double backing and put double backing back in there. I don't think it seals as well, so I use this without the intention of taking the window back out ever again. But if you have to with sealant, you can still cut it and get it back out. All right, after the window's installed, bolts are in, going ahead and, like I was saying, you backfill with sealant. Make sure you push it in there nice and tight. Any of the stuff you see comes out over, peels right off, it cleans up really nice and easy. Just let it dry first. Don't sweat it if you make a little bit of a mess. Try not to run your finger as much as possible. Make sure you get a good bead in there, and it seals nice and tight to the window and the frame, and you should be nice and good. All right, that's it. That's how you clean your MRAP window.